It is the stroke of 6 o'clock. Welcome to the Lincolnville Select Board meeting for Monday, December 22nd. Lately, we read the quote for the.
Sure, you do. You don't have to be great to start, but you have to start to be great. Zig Ziglar.
You. And is there anyone that would like to speak to something not on the agenda? Yes. Come up and introduce yourselves.
Yeah. So my name is Sam Lanning, and I got a statement here prepared for a land use issue regarding my father Wayne. And I'll be speaking on behalf of him and myself. The purpose of the statement is to make the matter public for the awareness of Lincolnville taxpayers, so that the public has visibility into how the tax dollars are being expended, into the conduct and concerns that we've experienced. This matter concerns my father's Springbrook Drive property and 4 lots identified as 13S, T, U, and V. The town has declined to answer any questions regarding and has directed communication through outside counsel. Through counsel, the town has asserted that these lots are part of an unapproved subdivision and has threatened enforcement action. The action is for, in quote, about $1 million, end quote. Without our knowledge, town council communicated with my father's listing broker and stated that lot 13U is in an unapproved subdivision and requested that the listing be removed. That is an extraordinary step with foreseeable consequences. That's created material risk to my father, and if acted upon, would cause material documentable damage, including loss of market opportunity, delay, and added professional costs. In addition, town council's written correspondence goes beyond legal allegations and asserts conclusions about my own intent, and states that no improvements were made to my previous lot, which was 13S, which I sold in January of this year. In fact, the public record reflects lawful permitting and substantial improvements to that lot from 2015 onwards. This calls into full question the integrity of statements made in the town council's letter. We ask if it's appropriate that the town advance what could be perceived as a motive-based insinuations that besmirch residents' reputations without verified, documented due diligence. The experience both my father and I have had this matter raises serious governance and compliance concerns about spending taxpayer money on attorney-driven escalation, with the core questions relating to records and subdivision rules that the town officials should be obligated to review carefully before taking action. Specifically, the recorded subdivision amendment plan, the prior consent order, and the exact ordinance and state law provisions in the town claims apply to these lots, plus other surrounding documentation present on their files, such as planning permission, title deeds, and subsequent actions on record. We are requesting on public record that the select board assure an appropriate, ethical, and detailed due diligence review of the controlling record and the subdivision rules by the appropriate and qualified officials. If that due diligence has already been performed, then the town should produce it in writing, including the factual basis, the specific provisions relied upon, and how they apply to each lot. Based on the record, we are confident that the proper review will lead the town to withdraw its enforcement position, drop the matter, and issue a written apology for the avoidable harm caused. We understand no response to myself or my father can be made in this form. However, we would like it on record that we respectfully request within 7 calendar days written confirmation that the town's withdrawing its enforcement position. This includes seizing further attorney-driven action and expense on this matter and issuing an apology upon completion of the recommended due diligence. We're available for any questions or an in-person meeting during this time. To our fellow residents, it is not only about the underlying dispute, it's about how it's being managed. My father and I have raised the issue to the public forum for your awareness as well. So it is on record our personal concerns regarding how the town manages serious allegations against residents. Today happens to be us, tomorrow it may be you, or those who come next in our town. We believe we have the responsibility in sharing the situation with our community. This is also about how our tax dollars are being managed and what decision-making, accountability, and transparency is in place to ensure appropriate oversight and governance. We're also asking for confirmation that the town conducted documented and appropriate due diligence before using taxpayer funds and asking actions that can materially harm reputations and property interests of the residents it serves. We believe this warrants an investigation, including all decision-making and accountability within the situation, and urge this matter to be taken seriously. We also ask that all communication, fiscal information, and records are preserved by the town in this matter in case future discovery needs. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Thank you. One request, could we receive that in writing if we haven't already?
Yes, we can get it to you.
Okay. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, Sam.
Any other non-agenda items anybody wants to speak on? Seeing none, we'll move on to item number 2, the administrator's report.
Couple of things. Got correspondence from communication with Maine DOT. This seems to be the subject of the night regarding Route 1 and the sidewalk correspondence we sent. And they'd kind of like to know whether or not we would like to have a meeting in January to better understand their policy, or one in March, April to better understand their policy when they might have some costs associated with the intended improvements of sidewalks. And I can put it on the next agenda, but I just thought I'd spring that on you if you wanted to deal with it tonight rather than in a couple of weeks.
To better understand their policy?
Well, they had, we talked about the cost share policy and how they're looking at replacing part of it for 90% and part if we want more for 50%. You communicated back with them saying we want the sidewalks that we have currently in place replaced. And we'd like to have further discussions about the cost share because we didn't think it was necessary or appropriate. So that's kind of where we are, that one.
Well, I feel like if we can have a conversation sooner rather than later, preceding budget conversations, that way the more information we get, the better. And if we need to have another meeting in March or April, so be it.
Exactly that. I intend someone meets sooner than later.
Makes sense to me.
Okay.
I will attempt to arrange it for as early in January as I possibly can.
There you go.
There we go. We had a small leak at the fire station in the oil room. A valve had, I don't know if it loosened up over time or whatever, but it was evident on the pad that's underneath the valve and the filter. Jim Burner came and did the necessary repair and put a new pad down there so we know that it's not leaking, or if it does, they'll replace the valve, but they'd prefer not to since the tank has 275 gallons in it. It's connected to another 275. Karen's got a question on that.
Is this something that might possibly have been for the maintenance plan? I mean, are we on a maintenance plan down there with Jim's?
They do an annual maintenance and I think that's why they put the pad there
Okay,
that was there and then the fire chief saw it. You know, turned to white pad pink.
Yeah.
And
so
called Matt, Matt called Jim's
and
and Jim showed up that day and
not a catastrophic spill.
no, it just,
Dripping.
Okay,
it was. You couldn't ever see it drip, I don't believe. I mean, I was there with a guy from Jim's for a while and he, you know, rubbed his fingers on it. And it's like, the only reason it's pink is because it's very dripped. So just keep your heads up. On things that continue on things that seem to be breaking. We lost a mooring line on the outer float at the pier. Which caused the float to go askew, so which caused us to remove the gangway today with an incline down to it. We've got 2 harbors lined up to do a repair. We've given the folks out to Islesboro heads up that it's going to be out of service for a period of time and the float is all askew at the moment.
Okay.
Speaking of the town of Islesboro, we received the annual donation that they make for harbor today, and that copy that'll be in the next packet. It's been a good portion of the weekend and today with brush duty and trees and whatever else picking up. Late this afternoon, there were still 2 residences on Green Acre or Faxon Farm Road that didn't have power. That's supposed to be restored by 5 o'clock, but I haven't checked it this afternoon. And the last thing I have for you, and you've got a little note on your table or your desk in front of you. Back in November, the board approved having a bonfire at the beach for Christmas by the Sea. And asked that any remains of the fires be extinguished and then the remains removed by December 8th. As of this morning, which is that first picture, you can see that the remains were not removed. The back pictures were taken last week, including, I don't know if you can make it on the bottom pictures. Beach is just covered with nails. And I guess I need to know what you really would like me to do, short of going down there and cleaning it up.
I myself would rather not,
Kern.
I'm sorry.
Second, Kern.
feel the people who put us in the corner to get that approved didn't live up to their end of the bargain, and this is now this is dangerous to the public. And I personally have had that conversation with the person who stood right at that podium for the last 3 years because it has to happen. And nobody could seem to do it in a timely fashion. We railroad stuff through to make Christmas come, but they can't do what they agreed to do. And I'm sorry if telling it like it is doesn't sound right. But I think everybody in this town needs to hear that.
Oh, well, that sounds spot on, sounds right to me, but also I sure as heck don't want, like, the taxpayers to have to pay for the cleanup.
Yeah.
Like, wait a minute, we had an agreement, so it's a matter of how we enforce that agreement.
Yeah.
How we communicate.
Yeah, no, I get it.
I mean, I don't want, like, I don't want to spend the money for David's time to make a phone call, that type of, well, it should have been done.
Follow up with the LLC that ended up having the fire.
Okay,
It's their responsibility.
and
Yeah.
how long do we wait to do anything or cordon it off or?
ASAP. It's gotta be done.
Well, you told them it had to be done within 2 days of the event, and now it's 2 weeks.
They can't get it done.
We have to do it more so. We're gonna have to do it and charge them.
Well, that was what I was gonna say is, give them a deadline of, by the end of the week, if it's not done. One, we should close the beach because it's not safe.
Right.
And then 2, clean it up and charge the nonprofit. for the cleanup.
Don't you feel the beach should be closed now? I mean,
Yeah,
Probably.
Yeah.
That coordinator important.
I mean, it's a lot. That's. Nails in a public space where people. And it's unfortunate, but you know, I mean, Mike, you know, to your point, I totally agree with you. I don't want. Even have to have David spend his time to deal with it, but that's the burden that we've
I think we
incurred
don't have to.
in engaging. In allowing this, so we
Yeah.
have
No,
to
I-
see it through, yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
I'll make the call. We'll get it locked off.
Speak in your deep voice, David,
Oh,
in your deep
I'll make it go.
gravitas.
It's really unfortunate.
That's all I have beyond what's on the agenda.
Any other questions for David?
I didn't.
I did have one on the Lincolnville Community Foundation.
Yes,
What, do you have a sense of what the balance in that account on our side is?
I don't
Okay.
because it's broken out into 3 or 4 different accounts, but I
Okay.
can get the.
Okay.
You mean where we stand with the fire truck?
All right,
Yeah.
Fire truck. Yep, okay.
Yeah, they've been donating to fire truck contingency and the fire station replacement, so I don't know
Okay.
what's in each one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Moving forward to meetings and announcements.
All meetings are here at the town office unless announced otherwise. Town office will be closed starting at noon on Wednesday, the 24th. And be closed all day on Thursday, the 25th. We'll reopen for regular business 8:30 on Friday morning. Planning board is scheduled to meet Wednesday, December 31st at 6 p.m. They don't have anything for their agenda as yet, so you might want to call or check the town office website or the town website before showing up on New Year's Eve for a planning board meeting. Town office will also be closed on Thursday, January 1st in observance of the New Year's holiday. Lincolnville Central School is scheduled to meet Monday, January 5th, 6 p.m. at the Lincolnville Central School. The select board will be making fire station tours on Monday, January 5th, 6 p.m., starting at the center fire station. The Comprehensive Plan Review Committee is scheduled to meet Wednesday, January 7th, 6 p.m. Conservation Commission is scheduled to meet Thursday, January 8th, 4 p.m. Recreation Commission meets Monday, January 12th, 6 p.m. And the Select Board meets next in regular session on Monday, January 12th, 6 p.m.
Excellent. Any upcoming community events? Seeing that, we'll move ahead to meeting minutes. We have one set from December 8th.
I move the board approve the December 8th, 2025 meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Excellent. Item 6. This is regarding the replacement of the Margaret Chase Smith.
Yes. Wow, yes. So back in this earlier this year, DOT was looking at replacing the Margaret Chase Smith with a larger boat, larger vessel. The bids came in extraordinarily high on their budget. They tabled it and regrouped and are now looking at basically a replacement, very similar to the current boat, with the exception of it'll be a hybrid vessel. It won't have the electric boat with the charging station here in Lincolnville. Won't be required an extension of the pens in both Lincolnville and Owlsboro. My understanding is they're still looking at replacing at least a dolphin out on Owlsboro, but not an extension. The DOT had a formal public meeting on Owlsboro last week. I don't know if there were any epiphanies that came out of it. DOT's had looked at 3 options for a smaller boat. I think people are kind of resigned to taking something for the replacing the 40-year-old vessel that's there and you have in your packet the slides that were used out on Owlsboro. The folks I talked to Janet Anderson, the Owlsboro town manager, and she said they hadn't made any comments town-wide, officially, but she didn't see they were going to. They needed to. They'd rather have a boat than not, and they need one within budget. So.
Mhm.
And I didn't know if anybody here had any comments or wished to convey anything. They are accepting public comment through January 2nd. It's on your agenda.
So as I read that, it looks like they've abandoned the idea of the ferry staying over in Lincolnville. It's now going to continue to stay on the island.
That's in state statute now. And
Yep. Any other?
Yeah, I mean, my takeaway from that meeting that I zoomed into, it was really like vehicle focused and, island resident accessibility of the ferry and capacity of the ferry. I know that their statement from the project manager is that, there isn't going to be any remarkable changes to our side of the infrastructure. But they aren't no changes. And the fact that there's reference to riprap repairs / slope stabilization. I still kind of want to see what they're proposing there. And mostly it's from my recollection with our conversation with Arel, who kind of casually mentioned they're talking about filling in this spot or doing this, but so I guess it's surface value. It doesn't necessarily seem that we need to meet with them, but I still feel like it would be nice to have a meeting with them so that we can see on paper and fully understand the scope and impact of what they plan on doing here. And, do they plan on doing work at night? Do they, that kind of thing, because that's not no impact to our residents. So I would say if we can schedule something with them, it would be worth it.
Other comments?
No, I agree, and it sounds like, another meeting makes a lot of sense to iron out all the details. These people are gonna be living with the details. Like you said, whether it's lighting or noise or what happens.
My take was immediately that the boat's not really our
No,
issue
No.
or battle, but we need to make sure we understand exactly what's happening. At the ferry slip in the surrounding area, riprap.
Yeah.
I remember too that they talked about, they might fill in over here.
Right.
And then we have to remember, we had that discussion about access to and from
Right.
our pier.
Yeah.
And vehicles be able to swing on if they make any changes, we need to be
Right.
ahead of those.
And it's been difficult to keep track of all of the different aspects with the multiple project managers down there and the way they've parsed out all the different projects. But, given that our infrastructure basically hangs off of theirs.
Yeah.
I just think that we are owed our own face-to-face understanding potential impacts, or how we could collaborate still on making sure we're all benefiting each other.
Exactly. So I think that says we definitely would like to meet with them at some point.
do we have any comments regarding the boat itself that we want to share with DOT?
Are they sure a little more wave break protection wouldn't benefit the boat while it's here in the ways? I mean, no, nothing about the boat in particular.
Okay.
No, other than it's nice, essentially, it's just a bit wider, there's a bit more room to open your door. It's basically gonna change. And, it's nice. So you might want to pass on that, we appreciate that.
It's nice.
I won't be digging up my doors, I guess.
With nothing else there, we can move on to item number 7, which is more DOT and the parking lot down at the ferry terminal.
Yeah, so DOT is gearing up to advertise their parking lot project at the former McLaughlin's Lobster Shack property. My understanding is that's going to be out to bid before the end of the year, or out at least advertised for bid before the end of the year. You have the plans as they exist. They're not finalized yet, but they're still they're as close as we're gonna see probably before they go out the door. Not much has changed since you had your site walk down there with them, but if there was any last minute squawks, now would be the last minute to get those in. I will say, did share these designs with the folks from Gartley and Dorsey that are helping us with the boat launching ramp. Because DOT indicated they've got some curb and sidewalk right in front of our property there now. And they did indicate a willingness to move that one way or the other to accommodate us. So we're trying to get the information right up through the construction. They're willing to move is what they said when they were here. So when we get that plan finalized or closer to finalized, we'll be able to shuffle, but.
Okay.
Am I missing the response where we asked about the egress gates?
That's just what I wanted to ask.
Because there were a lot of questions that very naturally arose when the ferry came in and everybody, all of the workers from the island basically came and emptied the parking lot and watching the impact of both pedestrians and cars coming and going from that area. It seemed like a lot of light bulbs went off, including the project manager, and
Isn't that what this is?
It doesn't look any different though.
They wrote
No,
maybe
that's-
for the upper, there was a question that at a gate location, can a vehicle pull in and not be in the road or for pedestrian walkway?
right,
And it says maybe for the upper,
right, but
even the lower was,
Yeah.
That was congested.
yeah. So greater clarity there, just because it seemed very apparent to all of us there that was a problem. So.
even they've got to lose a parking space or two. They've got that. That's
Mhm, mhm.
Yeah, something else I noticed in that their responses, they did not directly respond to what we asked them about, which had to do with landscaping. Up and
Yeah,
down the corner.
yeah,
It was a total omission. And I cannot remember when we talked about it on site during the site visit. If he said, well, that defaults to the Main State Ferry Service and whether they want to mow the grass or not.
mhm.
But I hope it's certainly a heck of a lot more. They're thinking a bit more about it than just keeping the grass in.
Yeah.
That is the entrance point.
And there was a casual comment that if we wanted to vegetate it with, say, native plantings or whatnot.
Yeah.
That would be, they'd be amenable to that, but. Get it right, you know, where's the formality?
That would be
It'd be nice to formally address those things so that. We can look towards working.
Sure, yeah, I agree.
Yep.
So the lighting component to me is was the biggest one when we were down there. It's the placement of lights are on top of each other in some cases. The similarity of lighting, I know they're probably not gonna wanna make much changes, but even if that front half can be similar to the beach lighting and then their back half can match what's down in the rest of their facility. Otherwise, it's just gonna look terrible.
Right, clarity and confirmation so that we don't have twin lights, which is essentially what we do. Along with one, yeah.
Well, I think on, as far as lighting goes, they're assuming that they're gonna comply with some pending legislation, that'll be 1934, right? And they're just assuming that that's not gonna be vetoed. It's held up in the air right now. They're assuming it's gonna go through. Not a signature one, but, so there will be regulations
Right.
that they will have to adhere to.
Yeah,
But yeah, most likely they could meet those regulations with a light that's similar to ours or similar to theirs. We should at least continue to press them on that.
Okay.
Okay, anything else on? Perfect. Anything else? Moving on to select person updates lately.
other than, what we've already talked about, I have, I did, I don't know if anyone's gone and followed the links that AD sent out regarding, traffic pinch points. That was sent out into all of our inboxes to go onto the interactive map and either verify or add, but I think it's a worthwhile thing to do. I've added in my 2 cents, and so I think it'd be worthwhile for everybody to, you can look at the entire coast of Maine and offer your 2 cents, but it's informative also, I think, just to select people, what the public.
About the only thing I have is, and I may have said this already, but I'd really like to see this get out to the towns. Midco Solid Waste is now taking credit cards or, your debit card or whatever. You don't necessarily have to have cash. So that's a big deal for a lot of people, and I don't know if it's out there because I've talked to a lot of people who didn't know it, so. And a fair amount of people here in this town, so, it's good to get that out there. Just so that everybody knows it. That is all I have. I know I usually can run right on, but it's not there tonight.
I don't have anything, though I do got a question for Kern. So another thing that people should know about the transfer station, that they gotta pull ahead. What is it about? Is that just human nature, or you guys can't,
We constantly
you
struggle.
can't get them to move ahead?
Yeah, it's a thing that we're struggling with, but there's going to be a remodel of that area, and it's likely 2 lanes that you can pay on both sides, so that is in the works of.
I'm
The
actually,
vision will come,
well, I'm talking about at the, where you do the recycling.
Yeah.
You pull up to there. There's always somebody holding up the line because they want to stop right away,
yeah,
rather than.
if there's a lot of space ahead of you, you really should go as
Oh, yeah.
far ahead as you can,
No kidding.
yeah. A sign maybe,
Hey, son, that
I'll bring
solves
that.
everything.
Always.
Yeah.
yeah.
Robin?
The next meeting for the Waldo County Budget Committee is 6 p.m. Friday, January 9th. Anybody wants to come?
Excellent. The only item I have is regarding the school heating system. Dampers have arrived, they were installed. They've decided in this installation, they need to add some condensate drains for the exhaust system for the furnaces. So those pieces are on the way, should be here before the end of the year, and hopefully will be formally commissioned by Wiesmann very shortly. But both furnaces are fully operational at this point. We have treasurers and payroll warrants.
I move that the board approve and sign the treasurers and payroll warrants.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All in favor? Last motion.
That we adjourn.
Second,
Moved in, seconded, all in favor.
Sounds good.
33 minutes.
Excellent.